Hey guys, BritGeek here with
Thraice. Woo!
And we're on the way down to St Austell for the M15 pre-release. So we're going to be playing a lot. We've already looked at all the cards, so hopefully we've got a kind of heads up. Watch our videos, check them out, see what you think. Thraice, what are you kind of looking forward to card-wise? What do you want to pull?
I've got my own a couple of the suitably strong red. The lands are going to be good. I like the look of the pain lands. Set you up really nicely for standard. So I think that, and just because he's fun, Ajani.
Yeah, can't argue with an Ajani. I'm hoping for some squid, because I just like the idea of having some squid. And anything green, really, because I'm a bit of a greenophile. That'll be the one. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else we really need to talk about. Have fun, guys, and enjoy your pre-release or your game day or whatever it is you're going to be going to. I hope you enjoy our video, and we'll see you when we get there. Alright guys, let's get some open if we can. Thank you, man. Makes life easier. Archetype. I like. Green tokens, the new wolves. Oh, Liliana. Wow. Spin down nice. Well done. We have 3 oversized 4 Slayer. Open those up separately later. Hey guys, we've just done the pre-release draw. The decks are a bit different, so if you go into a pre-release or you go into a games day, you've got to pick your colour before, so get to know the cards, know what colour you want to play. You went?
I went blue as well.
Yeah, we
Ended
both
up being
went blue.
blue-red.
I've gone blue-green because I like playing green, so that's all good. Yeah, it looks like an interesting deck. I've had some good pulls, especially in the green area, so that's made me happy, and we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, see you after round 1. And where you came and stuff, and what cards were good and everything.
Ready? Hey guys, just finished round 1 here at the M15 Miniatures in St Austell. Not bad, M15 pre-release. Lost 2-1, but against a red deck, too fast. Playing red-blue, pretty good. Borderland Marauders winning me games with invisibility. Well, will win me more games. As soon as I get a slower deck, where I get to play the aggro.
Alright guys, just finished round 1. That was a 2-1 win to me. First game was mine, second game was definitely his, and the third game came right down to the wire. I'm only going down to 4, but still managed to pull it out. Yissen is winning me. This is brilliant. I've got a massive combo coming on. We'll have a look at that when I do my tech deck. It's a really, really good combo, but also Yissen thrown into it. It's brilliant. Alright guys, see you in round 2. I just got walked 2-0, a little bit of a misplay to start with in the first one. Second game, I just got trounced by the enchantment that protection from all colours. Not good.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I just got hammered 2-0. My problem was definitely mana curve. Although I've got a lot of really low curve stuff in my deck, and I happen to draw all my 6 mana stuff and only 5 mana to play it with. Not so helpful.
No. Alright then guys, we're on to round 3 now. We'll see how we're going. So I'm middling, 1 loss, 1 draw, 1 win. This is at the
Bottom of the pack. No, I've got 1 win in 1 game at least.
We'll get you there. 2 more wins. We'll be alright.
Cool, man.
Alright guys, see you after round 3. Alright guys, not going so well. I've just lost 2-0.
Me too.
Yeah, so hopefully we can pull it back in the final match, but we'll see.
Alright, we're back a bit of pride.
Okay, end of round 4. Finally got another win, so that puts me up. And
Yeah, finally 2-0 win.
woo. But the first round I played, we went to time in the end. They just called time as we played the last card, but that was all attrition, playing against a white deck that just kept on gaining life and returning creatures and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun though, a lot of good cards, really enjoyed it. Okay guys, thanks a lot. I think how many did I get last time? I don't know, it's like 14, 15, 16 players. Gave away a lot of how many did I get last time? I don't know, it's like 14, 15, 16 players. Gave away a lot of ads and promos. It's £8 entry. It's good value for money day of playing. And just what? 57. Sean Barker. Hello. And that's all. No, just Okay guys, we've just finished our pre-release at Mad for Miniatures for M15. What a day, long day. Good job we only had the one pre-release. I can't believe I've done 2 in a row before. Anyway, I ended up in 15th place. I think it was 15th place out of 32, so I'm happy with that. Midway's alright for me. Wish I'd done better. Deck should have been stronger to do better. Couple of misplays, but we live and learn. I did play my second round against the guy who came first, so I'm quite happy that I lost against him. But that's cool. We'll have a look at his tech deck later. How do you do, Thraice?
Not bad. I lost my first round 1-2, and then lost 0-2, and then I won 2-0 at the end. My deck finally got itself together. It worked well. The theory was sound behind it, but might need to double check the curve a bit. Yeah.
Cool. Any cards in there that you really liked, or any cards that you came across that you kind of changed your mind about it?
The Borderland Marauder plus Invisibility combo, well, interaction, was nice, but I didn't see it in enough games, even though I was playing a number of both cards. It just didn't seem to turn up in all my games. Other than that, I was slightly underwhelmed by some of the bombs I played. Soul of Ravnica won one game, but the other games I saw it wasn't anything special, unfortunately.
Cool. I stumbled across a couple of extra combos that I put into my deck because I got a few nice good rares. Blue-green just synergize so well together, it's amazing. We'll tech deck our decks and you can have a look at them, and then we'll play them against each other and you can have a look at those as well and see what you think about the decks. Right then guys, I hope you've enjoyed your pre-releases as well, if you've been to a pre-release or if you're going to go to a games day or anything like that, and we'll see you soon.
Hey guys, we're back from the event. Now it's time to take a look at the decks we built. This is mine, Thraice. I built red-blue after picking the blue box at the start, as you may have seen. So first up, I'm going to go through by mana curve, I think. So at 1 mana, my drops were Fugitive Wizard. So 1/1 for 1 with no abilities. Not bad creature. Not brilliant, though it did help me out in a few games where I drew it straight away. A lot of other players skipped 1-drops. And here we have Forge Devil. Now unfortunately Forge Devil is not always the best 1/1. The reason I picked to play it was as an anti-turn 1 play when I was on the draw. However, that never came up. Literally nobody I played was playing 1-drops. So next we move on to our 2-drops, and here's where my deck was strongest. So I played 3 copies of Borderland Marauder. Brilliant creature. For 2 mana, you get essentially 3 2s worth of power. Really useful. This actually is what won me the games that I did win. Next up we have Quickling. Now Quickling seems quite good on paper. 2/2 for 2, flash, flying. When it comes to play you have to bounce on the card. Now, in theory, I was looking at playing this along with my 1-drops or my other 2-drops, the Borderland Marauders. This annoyingly didn't come up very often, and actually, sometimes Quickling was sat in my hand doing literally nothing. Not so helpful. Next up, I have 2 copies of Invisibility. Now, Invisibility was a great card. So it's 2 mana for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature can't be blocked except by walls. Very few players played walls. So turn 2, Borderland Marauder. Turn 3, this saw me through to dealing quite a lot of damage. Next up, we have 1 copy of Peel from Reality. So Peel from Reality is some reasonably good pseudo removal in blue. I have to bounce one of my creatures from one of my opponents. However, more often than not, because of my Borderland Marauders and things, I was bouncing a creature worth 2 mana for a creature worth a lot more than that. Saved me once or twice. Was more use than it was a hindrance. Next up, Lightning Strike. Perfect spell, 2 mana for 3 damage to a creature or player. Amazing. Useful every time I played it. Unfortunately, I only got the 1, even though it's a common. So now we move on to my 3 drops. Starting off, 2 copies of Krenko's Enforcer. 3 mana for a 2/2 with Intimidate. Great creature. Most players chose to pick the other boxes to start with, other than red. There are a few red players, but they weren't the majority, so actually these were very often unblockable. When I got to play them, really useful. Next up, we have Illusory Angel. Again, on paper, brilliant creature. 3 mana for a 4/4 with flying. Can only cast it if you cast another spell this turn. This suffered from a very similar issue to Quickling. It's great in theory, and I was thinking, oh, well, I've got quite a lot of low mana cost stuff, I can play it. It makes my the turns where I have to drop a Borderland Marauder later game really useful. Unfortunately, it was also often sat in my hand as a dead card. Not so useful. Next up, 1 copy of Staff of the Mindmakers. This was really useful. 3 mana for an artifact that gains me land every time I play an island, gains me life every time I play an island, and every time I play a blue spell. Since blue was the majority of my deck, this was invaluable. Helped me survive a lot of games. Next up, I have 2 copies of Encrust. This is a 3 mana enchantment. Enchanted creature, well, enchanted permanent, because you can do artifacts or creatures, doesn't untap during its controller's untap step, and activated abilities can't be played. So useful. Pseudo removal again. Locked down a lot of annoying creatures that could have caused me real issues. Next up, 1 copy of Divination. 3 mana to draw 2 cards. Always useful. It would have been nice to have had a bit more burn in its place, but still, it allowed me to draw up some bombs in the odd game. Now, unfortunately, one of the flaws of my deck is I wasn't playing any 4 drops. Didn't really realise at the time. Now that I look back at it, I can see why I had some issues. So, in my 5 drop positions, I had 2 copies of Nimbus of the Isles. 5 mana for a 3/3 of flying. Not the best thing in the world, but I needed some proper beat sticks with some sort of evasion. So, they did reasonably well. Underperformed a little bit, but were still quite powerful. And 1 copy of Thundering Giant. 5 mana for 4/3 with haste. Again, slightly underwhelming, but the immediate threat of haste when I played him was quite damaging to my opponent. Didn't really know how to react to it. Very useful. Next up, in the 6 mana slots, I played 1 copy of Miner's Bane. It's a 6 mana for a 6/3 creature, but pay 3. It gets +1/+0 and gains trample 10 to turn. Really useful. The couple of games where I played it, it helped stop my opponent's face in just by going over their defenders, finishing them off. This guy was useful. Next up, Glacial Crusher. 6 mana for a 5/5 with trample in blue, but it can't attack unless there's a mountain on the battlefield. Well, I was playing blue-red, so there was pretty much always a mountain on the battlefield. Unfortunately, I never played this guy. Don't know how it would have performed. Never came up. Real shame. And last but not least, we have Soul of Ravnica. 6 mana, 6/6 for flying. Really useful. When it got played, it was a proper bomb drop. Killed my last opponent on the last game, in fact. its 7 cost for drawing cards was never particularly useful, because the most I would be doing is paying 7 mana to draw 2 cards. Not very helpful, but 6/6 for 6 for flying, really useful creature. I then played only basic land. I played 10 islands and 7 mountains. Worked pretty well as a mana balance. Was perhaps a bit high, but there was 1 or 2 games where I only drew, say, 4 land, and it didn't help me very much. Thanks for listening, guys, and until next time.
Hey guys, BritGeek here. So, we've played, we've built our decks, and now we're going to have a quick look at them with you. So, this is my deck that I made from the pre-release. We have got 2 Fugitive Wizards, an Elvish Mystic, and a Vine Weft in my 1-drops. I wish I'd had more Elvish Mystics, because I like playing elves and ramping into a lot of green and all that kind of stuff. And the Fugitive Wizards, I know they're a bit rubbish, but they're a 1-drop for a 1/1, and I'll explain why that was important soon, but also first drop. The Vine Weft probably could have done without. It was quite nice to have that little 1-drop kind of +1/+1, but it wasn't a permanent counter, even though you could return it later. I think, looking back on it, that's probably one of the cards that I really should have taken out and put something a bit more powerful in the high end in, but we live and learn. So that's my 1-drops. My 2-drops were, we had 2 Bronze Sables. Now, really, really good 2-drop. Okay, it's a 2/1, but it's for 2 colourless mana, so not really going to argue with that. That was my only creatures in the 2-drop range. I wish I'd had a couple more, but not really an issue. And next up we have got an unfocused camera, so let's try and get it focused. There we go. We've got 2 Rogue's Gloves. Now my idea with blue was evasion. If I can't fly over the top of them, I'll climb underneath them, get through them any way I can and get that damage in, even if it's just for a little bit every time. So this one, but this meant that every time I did damage to a player, I got to draw, so I could go through my deck really quickly, and I think I did manage that quite happily. So here's this evasion I was talking about. We had 1 invisibility in there, could only be blocked by walls, didn't come across many walls in that at all. Then we had, to go along with the Bronze Sables and the Rogue's Gloves, I had a Ensoul Artifact, which is a 2-drop to turn a creature into a 5/5. So along with the Bronze Sable, I could pay 4 mana and get a 5/5 for it, either in the same turn or split the turns. Then a little bit of pseudo removal. We've got Peel from Reality. So return target creature you control and target creature you don't control to their own hands. Also useful in battle because it's at instant speed. So if someone blocks something that you really didn't want or didn't know, you could always push through first and get rid of it. Then we had a Plummet, which destroy target artifact, a target creature with flying. That was very, very useful. And then last but not least, my 2-drops, we had a Naturalize, which is just destroy target artifact or enchantment. Really, really good. Always good to have 1 in a deck. You never know what someone's going to be putting out there. Very, very useful. So that was my 1-drops. Then we go on to the 3-drops. Now this was the deck that really made, this was the card that really made the deck for me. Yisan the Wanderer Bard. She's a 3-drop for a 2/3, so it's alright. But every turn that she can tap, so you can't do it the first time she's out, but every turn after that, pay 3 mana, tap it, put a verse counter on it. Then you search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to the number of verse counters on Yisan. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So the first time you do that, you only get a 1/1. But if you're, that's why I've got these 1/1s in my deck. And say you're going for an Elvish Mystic, that gives you a mana pool right there. The second turn, you're going for a 2, so you're paying 3 mana for a 2-drop. That's one of the Sables or something like that. It just comes straight into play. Then it starts getting more cost effective. Next turn, you're paying 3 mana for a 3-drop. get onto the 3 drops later. We're onto the 3 drops now, so you'll see what I had in my hand to play. Then next turn it's a 4, a 5, and a 6, 7. I'm playing green, so I'm ramping into some big colours, and I'm playing them for 3 mana. Very, very useful, very handy, and I'm going to build a deck properly around her. So then next up we have Illusionary Angel, which is a 3-drop for flying 4/4. The downside to her is cast Illusionary Angel only if you've cast another spell this turn. If you're using Yissen's ability, you don't have to follow that casting rule because she's being played onto the battlefield, she's not being cast. So you get her out for 3 mana like you would do anyway. It's really, really useful. I really liked her. I think I might be keeping up. There were times when I was sat on her in my hand waiting for the right combo because I didn't want to waste a card just to play her. Something to think about. The next one I had was an Aeronaut Tinkerer, which is a 3-drop for a 2/3, but it gets flying if I've got an artifact. I had quite a few artifacts, so I thought I would go for it anyway. Flyer, 2/3, it's worth it as a blocker if anything. So that was my creatures that I played in the 3-drop range. Then 2 divinations, always good to have a bit of draw in there, especially in limited. And then I had a Verdant Haven, which is a 3-drop to gain you 2 life, and you enchant a land that gives you an extra mana every turn of whatever colour you choose, so it's really, really good mana fixing. If I'd had another one of those, I probably might have splashed another colour, but I didn't, so I stuck with just the 2 colours. So that's my 3 drops for you. Then we go on to the 4 drops. So my creatures in the 4-drop range, because of Yissen, I had Jilara, Master Polymorphist. That means that I can pay 3 mana, tap it, sacrifice another creature, and then I reveal the top cards of my library until I've revealed a non-legendary creature card, put that onto play. Really useful, and it has that really nice non-legendary creature bit. So if you had 2 legendary creatures, already had one in play, you're not going to then go and cancel each other out. Very, very useful, and I love that they've done that to her. They could have made her a lot more difficult doing it the other way around. You don't lose any of the cards that you've revealed that way because they go to the bottom of your library randomly. It really helps you thin in this, and when you're drawing out lots of 1-drops and 2-drops because of Yissen, you can then upgrade them. Then possibly, you've got to take a chance, but you might get something a lot bigger for the 3 mana. Quite useful card. Plus you can do it after you've attacked with a creature and it's tapped out. It's already dealt the 1 or 2 damage. Very, very cool. Then we had Paragon of Eternal Winds. That was in there because it was a 4-drop. Also because of another card I had later on would have ramped them up, but I didn't really see the combination going much. And to give another creature trample, so another kind of little bit of invasion that would have got the gloves over the top and got me that draw. Didn't really play him very much, kind of a little bit iffy because of the affecting only green creatures. And then last of all in my 4-drop section I had Hunt the Weak. That's put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control, then target creature fights target creature you don't control. Quite good for removal and pump. So I pump up a creature, I get in there, get to remove. I did have one massive misplay in my 2nd round. I pumped it, did the direct damage, forgot that the creature had damage on them, then swung in, they chump blocked it, but killed the creature that I swung with. So that was a real waste, and I may have been able to take one off the guy that I lost to if I hadn't misplayed like that. But we live and learn, and I really like that card, and I think I'm going to keep that one. It's a 4-drop, but with the mana ramp that I've been working into and the deck thinning with the creatures coming out, I think that might stay in there as +1/+1 counter would be quite useful. Okay, so that's my 4 drops. 5 drops, I've only got the 1, which is my Mercurial Pretender, which was the card that everyone got for doing the pre-release if they picked blue. Really, really useful card. Love it a lot. I know a lot of people were negative about it on the pre-release because the text says as a copy of any creature you control. So it can't be a copy of any creature that's on the battlefield. This comes very useful with a couple of other cards that I've got further up the string, because I can get them out for 3 mana and then I can get this guy out for 5 mana, plus a combination of another card I'll show you in a second. So my 6-drop was the Soul of Ravnica. mythic rare blue creature. 6 for a 6/6 with flying is really good. I never used his other abilities, the draw a card for each colour among permanents you control. Yeah, I'm not too keen on that. Maybe if I splashed a third colour it would be quite useful, but you're still paying 7 mana for a 3 draw, could be quite painful. So, I don't know, I like him because he's a 6 drop flyer, 6/6, and he fits in that 6 spot that I had with, that I was looking for creatures with Yasin. But, I don't know, when I'm building up my decks, maybe I won't be keeping that one in it. And then last but not least, I had a Hornet Queen, which is one that I was really looking forward to getting, and I'm glad I did. This is the 7 drop flying insect 2/2 with Death Touch, but when it comes out with 4/1/1, so basically it's effectively got an attack of 6, Death Touch and flying for 7 mana. Plus I'm only really paying 3 mana for her because of my Yasin. Yeah. And then when you've got Mercurial Pretender, who can pay 5 to get him out, and then you get another 4, and then you can pay 3 or 4 to return him, and then 5 again to put him out. Every time you're paying 5, you're getting 4/1/1 flyers with Death Touch. I'm happy to pay 5 mana for that much. That's where the Paragon of Eternal Wilds would have come in handy, because he would have given those flyers, made them into 2/2s. But we can't have everything. It didn't really come out. Maybe he will stay in there if I can get another one and make this combo work off. So that's my deck, ladies and gentlemen. I came 15th. And yeah, it was a really good day. So I hope you enjoyed it. Anything you want to make comments on, please let me know. And tell us about your experiences making decks for the pre-releases. Okay, guys, we'll keep you up to date later on how our decks turn out when we kind of Friday Night Magic them up. They've given us some really, really good ideas for standard decks, and we'll see how well it gets on. Okay, guys, I'll see you soon.
Hey guys, welcome back to the M15 pre-release. We've been lucky enough that some of the players here are going to share some of their decks with us. So I'm going to take you through a couple of tech decks, get you to show what they've got, why they're playing it, and what's good about it. Thanks guys, enjoy.
Hey, I'm...
sorry, man.
Okay. Damn it.
Okay, cool.
Hey, I'm Liam, and this is my deck from the pre-release, and it's mono green called Bees. You'll see why in a minute. To start with, I've got, if it's focusing,
Yeah, all good.
to start with, I've got my my ramp in 2 Elvish Mystics and a Meteorite. Meteorite being also a little bit of utility and kill if needed to be. I then have my little bit of buff, which can be very, very funny at some points, with my Paragon of Eternal Wilds giving all other green creatures +1/+1 and trample if needs be. And Obelisk of Erd being convoked on 6 mana and giving anything of a chosen creature type +2/+2, which you'll see why is huge. I've got my enter the battlefield effects, including tapping creatures down with Frostlinks, looking for, well, more lands with my Satyr Wayfinders, making a humongous creature with Undergrowth Scavenger, and finally Genesis Hydra, which can be cast for lots and lots of mana and get amazing things. I then have my bounce effects in Roaring Primadox and 2 invasive species. And my fatties being Charging Rhinos, Siege Worm, the Fighter Titan, and here's where the key point of the deck is, with my Hornet Queen. As she creates loads of Death Touch 1/1s, and you've seen all the bounce, it can make lots and lots of, well, nasty things. And my miscellaneous spells being Into the Void for just that little bit of removal. My 2 counters being Negate and Dissipate. A Naturalize for, utility. And a Feral Incarnation for that last little burst of power that you need. And extra lands being Radiant Fountain gain some life, makes sense. Evolving Wilds to search for those lands that I need, and a Yavimaya Coast. And the rest being three islands and 15 forests.
Cool. And how's it done for you so far?
I've gone 2-1 and just about to start the last thing, so let's hope it does well.
Thanks a lot, man.
Hi, I'm Sean Barker, and this is my Gilgari deck from the M15 pre-release. Alright, so let's start with the creatures. 1 Runeclaw Bear, 1 green promo, don't dare ask me to pronounce its name, 2 Elvish Mystics, 3 Netcaster Spiders, 1 Paragon of the Eternal Wilds, a Hornet Queen, Charging Rhino, 2 Living Totems, 1 Carrion Crow. Now, on to instants and sorceries. I had 1 Hunt the Wilds, 2 Sign in Blood, 2 Flesh to Dust, and a Necrobite. And enchantments I only had 2, Crippling Blight and Eternal Thirst. And I was one of the fortunate few to have a Planeswalker, or Planeswalkers, Liliana Vests, Garruk Apex Predators. The lands of the deck consisted of an Evolving Wilds, a Llanowar Wastes, 8 Swamp, 8 Forests. Ended up going 2-2. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Hi, my name's Tony. I've popped along today for the M15 pre-release, and I've done terrible to be honest, but I've had an awful lot of fun today. So hopefully I'm going to talk about a little bit about the deck I've managed to pull today for you. Quite a lot of the deck, I chose white, so I like a lot of white. I like the fact that it draws a lot of creatures, a lot of small creatures comes out fast, and it's a lot of life gain in it. And they've brought back a lot of old cards like Raise the Alarm, nice couple of soldiers, Wall of Essence, that's a nice new card. 0/4, every piece of damage it takes, you get back as life. I found a nice combination to actually keep that alive. Just find it a moment. Spirit Bonds. Spirit Bonds, every time a creature comes into the battlefield, you pay 1 mana, you get a spirit token. You sacrifice the spirit token, it gives your creature indestructible until the end of your turn. Now, in combination with the Wall of Essence, that's a chance to gain an awful lot of life. I think the maximum life I got was about 50 today, which isn't too bad. Before getting beaten, might I add. And if you couple that along with a Jani's Pridemate as well, which actually ramps up every time you gain life, you can quite easily end up with a 7/7 cat quite easily stamping over most creatures. Another nice new card as well, Triplicate Spirits. 6 mana, you get 3 1/1s. That doesn't sound great, it sounds like an awfully expensive card, until you use the Convoke cost. Now Convoke, you can tap your creatures and use them as mana. And if you're spawning an awful lot of tokens, like I'm hoping to do when I finish building this deck, that suddenly makes it awfully cheap. And once you've got a lot of creatures down, then you can use something similar to Congregate to gain yourself an awful lot of life back. And Soulmender helps ramp that up quite nicely as well, just being able to tap it just for that 1 life every turn. You could do that from turn 1 as well for 1 mana. Other than that, I was quite unlucky to be honest, and didn't pull anything overly amazing. Apart from the promo card that everybody with a white deck managed to get. It's essentially resets your life back to 20, which I actually had an opponent do when they were down to 1 life on me. I hope that's helped explain a little bit about the deck I've been using today, and it might give you a couple of ideas.
Cool. Thank you very much. It falls. It goes everywhere. That's not good. It's not good. You happy with that?
You could try and lodge it between the